Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. And in today's video, we are actually going to uncover the secret to scoring above 300 plus in Jamb. Now, as we know, Jamb is a very important exam in Nigeria, and it's really crucial to score well in order to get into your desired university. And if you're actually a student in Nigeria, you know how important this exam is actually for your future. And we have just barely 2 weeks for the exam. So today I'm going to give you tips on how to ace your exam with the most limited time. So stay tuned, guys. Today, I'm not actually really going to talk about starting early because I believe everyone knows that the secret of scoring a really good, of acing an exam rather, is starting early. Now, but let's be frank with ourselves, a lot of us don't start early. I myself, when I first started wrote my first jam, I think it was barely just 2 weeks I started writing my exam. I started reading for that exam. So let's be frank with ourselves, a lot of us are actually watching this video because maybe they feel like they are not really good enough or they haven't actually studied a lot. But so today I'm going to give you some few tips on how to maximize your results, on how to maximize your score that you're going to get in jam. So stay tuned. One of the first tips I would give you guys is practice past question. Now, this is one of the most important things that you can do to prepare for JAM. Now, past question gives you an idea of what to expect in an exam and helps you and actually helps you to identify area where you need to improve. Now, one mistake a lot of students make is they don't actually practice past question. Now, I've myself I actually make that mistake. I always try to study. I love studying from textbook and I never practice past question because to me I saw past question as just like it's not really necessary as long as you know that as long as you know it then that means you know it. You don't actually need a past question to tell you if you know this or not, and that was actually one of the problems that I made when studying for my exam. Now past question is really important because even though as much that you know what you're actually studying, there are still some questions that past question will open your mind to. There's still some concept that past question will open your mind to. There's some questions that they are really tricky and not really straight to the point. Now I remember when I was studying for my jam, and there was a question that came out of the past question. I was really confident about that answer. That okay, the answer was A, but when I actually decided to check the answer, I was actually wrong, and I noticed that my motive was actually correct. No, they were not correct, but past questions just Jam wants you to think outside of the box. They want you to pick the best answer. Now, if you have a question, you have four options. I promise you, two of those options are wrong and two are very correct. Now, these two are not really wrong, they're actually correct, but Jam wants you to pick the best out of them all. Now, with your only with your mind, it's your what you've actually studied, you might feel like you know the best, but there is something that is actually hidden behind, let's say something like behind the scene that you add that they actually want you to pick out. And that is just where past question comes into play. It gives you that idea of what you need to study. Now, I remember myself when I was studying for this exam, and there was a guy who was he was really into past question. The guy was really into past question, and I was like, past question? Why you always studying past? Why you always studying past question? And I was like, I was like the boss in the class, in the whole class, and I was like, I don't like past questions. I don't want to read past questions. And shocking enough, when the result came out, this guy beat me with almost 20 to 30 points. And I was really surprised. But so that's just to tell you how important past question is. He was saying that most of the question he had was based on questions he had actually solved in past question. The truth is, Jam doesn't have new questions to give you. That's the true fact. They don't really have new questions to give you. If you check a question, you have 180 questions. There, out of the 180 question, let's say 80% of your questions, or let me just say 60% of your question are mostly likely from past questions. All of them are mostly from past questions. Just few of them might not be from past questions, and few of them might actually be from past questions, but just twisted in a different way. So always try to study your past question because past question is really important. I can't even stress how important past question is. Well, I never understood how important past question was until when I saw that boy actually really beat me in class, because this was someone that I was always, helping, teaching in class. This was actually someone that he comes to me for question that he doesn't actually understand the back question. I'm like, I just answer it for him. But then then again, I actually understood how important past question was because it made him really understood the concept in those questions. Now, there's some questions like I said, you would actually know this A is the answer, but B is actually most suitable for that answer. Now, A is not actually wrong, but B is really, really wrong. And past question is just like a guide to help you, to put you in way to succeed. Now, like I said, don't, yeah, you could study past question, but don't always rely on it. You could also study textbook doesn't mean just because he passed me, doesn't mean that I wasn't good enough or I couldn't defend my answer or stuff like that. You can study your past with your textbook, it's also okay, but also give a majority of your time to past question. In fact, right now, I think what you should be doing mostly is past question. Forget about textbooks for why. Now, I'm not saying it's really bad, textbooks are really bad, but give more of your time to pass question. Now, the next thing I'm going to give you guys is focus on your weakness. Now, always identify the subject or the particular topic that is actually giving you a problem, and try to give more attention to those subjects or those topic, because I've seen a lot of students make some mistake that they tend to avoid those their weakness, and always want to focus on their strengths. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't focus on the topic that you're good at. You could focus on that, but give more attention to those topics that you know you're not good at. Now, most students will just want to forget about it and just pray to God that those questions doesn't come out. Questions like AC, DC, simple harmonic motion, these are questions that a lot of students run away from, and these are questions that Jamb know that a lot of students run away from, and they set questions based on those topics. Now, if you have a particular topic that you know that you are scared of, or that is actually a weakness, focus on those topics. Try to handle those topics, and try to make them your strength. That is what I'm saying. It's always advisable to focus on your weakness than focus on your strength and let your weakness die more and more. So you can focus on your strength, but always tend to give more attention to your weakness. Now, sometimes some your weakness might not actually be a particular topic. Your weakness might not be a subject. So your weakness might be, like for me, when I was studying writing my exam, my weakness was answering questions from the screen. Now, I think I've said this before. Now, that was I was actually really scared of answering questions from the screen. I was Each time I see a question from the screen, I feel like even if these questions were really easy, if you were to write this question down on a piece of paper and give it to me to solve, it won't take me less than 3 minutes to solve those questions. But immediately I saw those questions on the screen, I'm usually really scared. I'm usually really scared of answering those questions. Now that was actually my weakness, and I noticed that that was my weakness because each time I go to cyber cafe to answer questions, I would feel woefully. But each time I take that particular question and I write it down and I try to solve it, I find out that they are really, really easy to actually answer. So whatever your weakness is, try to identify those your weakness. Now what I did was I studied more questions. I studied more and more and more and more. I was going to cyber cafe like 3 times a week. I was always trying to get used to that weakness. Before I knew it, I was really good at answering questions, even though they come from a screen or written. Now, so always try to handle your weakness. Whatever thing that you see that is exam related that you are scared of, try to handle it. It might not be a particular topic, it might not be a subject, it might be something that you have phobia for, maybe phobia of exam. Just give yourself this confidence that you can actually answer this question. It might be phobia of reading, just try to answer this question and turn that your weakness to your strength. Now, the next tip I'm going to give you guys is really, really, really important. Now, I think this will actually focus on those who have not actually started studying yet. Now, the tip I'm going to give you guys is create a study syllabus. Now, one of the mistakes a lot of students make, especially when they have not started studying and they actually want to study just barely 2 weeks to exam, is that the first thing they do is they go to Jamb syllabus and they want to read according to Jamb syllabus. Now, I think that's a very huge mistake because the truth is that, and no one should lie to you about it, is that Jamb syllabus is actually all the topic that is in your textbook. Now, if you take out your Jamb syllabus and take out your textbook, and you try to take those syllabus topic out of the textbook topic, you will notice that they are actually the same thing. Whatever is studied is covered in Jamb syllabus is the same thing covered in your textbook. And just imagine you have about 400 to 500 page of that's actually in your textbook. How are you going to actually cover that? Now you need to create your own study syllabus. Now one thing I always advise people is go through Jamb past questions. Go through a lot of Jamb past questions. You will notice that there is a trend in a particular topic that usually do come out. And that was actually what I did. Now whenever you go through 4 5 years um, uh, past questions, you notice that there is a particular topic that do come out. Maybe there's a particular topic that's always frequently coming out. Now you could put that as your one of your syllabus. Go through those questions, go through the past questions again. Take another topic, put it out as your study syllabus. Just pick questions that you know that okay. Just pick topic that you know that Jamb do set questions under, and you can use that to create your Jamb syllabus. But you trying to follow Jamb syllabus, you are not actually going to study everything in barely 2 weeks. It's impossible for you to study the whole of the textbook in barely 2 weeks. And we were not actually studying just one question, one topic. We have physics, chemistry, biology, and English. Depending on your course, we have about 4 topics. So trying to cover those 4 topic as a whole, it's something that in fact is a mission impossible. So what I would advise you to do is go through your past questions, whatever topic that you see that is most likely going to come out, set that as your study syllabus. And those questions that you see that they're not actually really common, then you could. Now I'm not saying you should overlook that, but if you have time, then you could go through those ones. But those ones that you know that they are really common, just set that as your syllabus. And I believe that if you do this, you can at least map out about 4 to 5 different topics, and then you can double down on those topics rather than just going through random everything and you won't actually study anything at all. So always try to create a study syllabus for yourself. Now another tip I'm going to give you guys is use a reputable study material. Now there are a lot of resources online and a lot of resources offline also, so try to make sure you get some of those resources to help you study for exam. One of the things I used was my school app. Now my school is really important. It's really helpful for those of you who actually study for exam, because that is actually what they are based on, and they actually were the one who helped me overcome my fear of answering questions from screen, because then I had my school app on my laptop, so I actually use that to answer questions, and they have about all of the questions in Jamb past questions. So you don't always have to carry around your Jamb past questions. You could just use your phone, open up the app, and answer questions from there. Now this will actually build your confidence in answering questions. Now the last thing I'm going to give you guys is stay calm and confident. Now don't ever let nerve get the best of you. Now Jamb is not really a rocket science. It's not really one of the most difficult exams that you're ever going to face. And there are going to be lots more difficult exams that you're really going to face. That's going to be even tougher than Jamb. So don't always let Jamb beat the best of you. Don't always let it really beat you down. As long as you know the knowledge behind it and the technique to get around it, it's really easy. Now just take a deep breath, read your question carefully, and just answer it to the best of your knowledge or to the best of your capacity. Now don't always beat yourself up that, oh, I should have studied way back, I should have studied way this, I should have studied this. Now when I wrote my second exam, I studied for a whole year, and that was the worst performance I've ever seen in my entire exam. In fact, it was the lowest. Even when I wrote my first exam that I just had barely 2 weeks to study exam, it was even way better than the second exam that I had 1 year to study. So don't always beat yourself up that I should have started studying for 1 year, or don't always compare yourself to someone else. Now look at that guy was always comparing himself to me that this guy, you're really good, I wish I'm like you. But now look at it, when I wrote my exam, he really did better than me. But now that doesn't mean that because someone is really smart means he's really good. It doesn't mean that they are the best and you are inferior and they are superior. Now Jamb is not, I think Jamb is not one of the hardest exams you will face. There are a lot of exams that you will face, and there are a lot of exams that will even pull you deeper than Jamb is. So don't always let Jamb take the best of you, and always remember that you have done your best. Even if you study just 2 weeks to exam, 3 weeks to exam, 4 weeks or a month, or even a week to exam, you have done your best. There are a lot of people who have not actually studied for the exam, or at least you made that bold step to want to study and you're actually doing it. And that, my friend, should actually be a sign that at least you made an attempt and you should congratulate yourself. So guys, those are my secrets and my tips on how to ace your exam. I hope you guys find this useful, and I wish all of you writing the exam good luck and success in your exam. And if you like my video, please like, subscribe, and share, and you can check out my other videos. See you guys later.